work cannot be seen with the naked eye, but magnified 400 times, it becomes clear that the British engraver Graham Short can make the impossible possible. He has successfully engraved the words "nothing is impossible" on the 1/100th of a millimeter wide edge of a razor blade.
I was absolutely thrilled. When I'd finished it, I couldn't believe it, because I'd struggled for so long to do it, and I knew that it was probably the smallest engraving in the world. I can't go any smaller, and I wouldn't think anybody else can.
It took Graham Short 180 tries to get it right, but the effort was worth it, and a good money earner too. A collector paid around 50,000 euros for the razor blade. Normally, Short produces printing plates for fine stationery, envelopes, and business cards in his Birmingham studio. Among his clients, Britain's royal family. Miniature engraving has fascinated him from the beginning. His greatest dream, engraving the entire Lord's Prayer on the head of a pin. That took 40 years.
I know it's been a tradition that all engravers try to engrave the Lord's Prayer on something as small as possible. So that's why we were doing it as apprentices. We were trying to go smaller and smaller.
His messages are manifold, from a legal text on the casing of a bullet to the names of every English football player who ever scored a goal in the World Cup on the studs of a soccer shoe. Or a quote by the British author William D. Timaeus on the center point of a pocket watch.
They think I'm an eccentric, I think, but it is an obsession. I understand that. Totally obsessed with it now. Can't stop it.
Short has been working in Birmingham's Jewelers' Quarter for around 40 years. Graham Short is one of the last engravers who still does his work completely by hand. To stay in condition, he swims between 5,000 and 10,000 meters a day. Many long hours of solitude in his studio have made him accustomed to the loneliness of the long-distance swimmer.
It's usually about 2.5, 3 hours a day I swim. And the more swimming I do, the fitter I am and the lower the resting heart rate, and that's the real reason I do it.
When he's at rest, Graham Short's heart slows to about 30 beats per minute. He tapes a stethoscope to his chest to monitor his heartbeat when he's working. Because it's the moment between heartbeats when he finds the absolute calm he needs. He works only at night when there are fewer cars and other distractions outside his studio. Then he straps his arm down with a leather belt so that he can only move his fingers. Today, he's going to engrave an Oscar Wilde quote onto the nib of a pen.
I have to sit and wait and wait and wait until the moment is right. And then I shall try and make a movement while I'm absolutely dead still between my heartbeats. My heartbeat isn't as slow as it should be. I'm in exactly the right position to put a bar on the top of a letter T. Oh. It's seen the reaction more than anything that I like. I've seen the work in a gallery and people have looked through the microscope and they can read it, but then they look down to see what it's on and they're confused. You can see the look. They're so confused. They think it can't be there. Then they look again. There was one woman in a gallery once who got down on her knees looking up at the lens. She thought there was lettering on the lens of the microscope. So funny. But it's the reaction I like more than anything, because I know I've done something special.
Graham Short often sits until dawn, bent over his work, deep in concentration, a craftsman producing tiny works of